My girlfriend mocked my proposal. Days later, she was screaming at my intercom begging to come back. On a Saturday night, I proposed, and my girlfriend said she needed time. 4 days later, I overheard her at a coffee shop laughing, saying, "He will propose again. I will say yes, then dump him later." I did not confront her in the cafe. I did not make a scene. I stayed quiet, opened a folder called Receipts, and let her keep talking. My name is Blake. I am 29, and I live in New Jersey. I work in IT support for a healthcare company. Steady pay, predictable hours, nothing glamorous, but reliable. I dated Jenna for 3 years. Jenna is 27, smart, social, and the kind of person who looks like she belongs in any room. When we first met, I honestly thought she was out of my league. She had that polished confidence that makes other people lean in. The first 2 years were great. Trips, inside jokes, lazy Sundays. We moved in together last year, and that is when Jenna started talking about marriage all the time, not directly, but constantly. She sent ring videos. She saved wedding clips. She talked about our future, like it was already scheduled. So I did what most people do. I saved money. I planned a proposal I thought she would love. I picked a restaurant she had mentioned multiple times, a warm Italian place downtown with candles and a small back room. I invited a few close friends to come after, because Jenna always said she wanted a little celebration. I bought a ring that fit her style. Not huge, but beautiful and practical. It cost me enough that I could feel it in my budget. I was proud of it. The night came. Jenna looked amazing, and she was excited in that way that made me think, okay, this is it. We are aligned. Then, at dessert, I got down on one knee. I opened the box. I said her name and asked her to marry me. And Jenna did not say yes. She stared at me like I had handed her a bill instead of a ring. The room got quiet. Not the whole restaurant, but our bubble, the table next to us, the waiter hovering, the air changing. Finally, she said, "I need time to think." I felt my face burn, but I kept my voice calm. I stood up and sat back down, still holding the open box for a second too long because my body did not know what to do. The waiter looked away like he wanted to disappear. Jenna said, "Can we go?" In the car, she finally spoke. "The ring is not what I imagined," she said, "and this restaurant, it is not romantic the way I wanted." I blinked. "You picked this restaurant." Jenna shrugged. "I said it was cute. That is not the same. If you were me, you might have snapped right there. I did not. I was embarrassed and confused, and I kept trying to be reasonable because I did not want to turn my proposal into a fight. I said, "We can exchange it. We can pick something together." Jenna stared out the window. "It is not just the ring." "What is it?" I asked. She sighed. "I just think we should wait. Make sure we are really ready." Ready. After 3 years, living together, talking about the future weekly, ready was a strange word. We got home. Jenna went straight to bed. No conversation, no hug, no, we will talk. I slept on the couch, staring at the ceiling, trying to understand how I went from planning a celebration to sitting alone like I had done something wrong. The next day, Jenna acted like nothing happened. She said casually, "Maybe we can revisit engagement in a few months." A few months. She kissed me goodbye and went to work like she had not just rejected a proposal. I spent the whole day replaying everything. What better plan did she want? She had been hinting for months. Then, small things started piling up. More phone time. Screen angled away. Calls taken in the bathroom. Late work nights. New outfits. New perfume. Nothing that screamed betrayal on its own, but together it felt like a pattern. One night, her phone lit up on the coffee table while she was showering. I was not trying to snoop, but I saw the preview. Name, Charles. Message, Friday. Our usual place. Our usual place. I asked Jenna later, calm, "Who is Charles?" She snatched her phone quickly. "Work friend. Team lunch." Team lunch does not usually sound like our usual place. I nodded like I believed her. Then I made a decision. If she wanted to treat my life like a waiting room, I was not going to sit there blind. I texted my best friend Luke. "Need to talk. Private." Luke met me for a beer, listened, and said, "This does not sound normal." He did not jump to conclusions, but he said something that stuck. "Do not accuse without proof, but pay attention." So I did. 2 days later, I worked from a coffee shop near our apartment. Jenna never goes there. She calls it overpriced. I sat in a corner with headphones on, not playing anything, just watching my screen and pretending to work. Then I heard Jenna's laugh. Not her warm laugh. A sharper one. She was with her friend Tara, sitting at the table behind me. They did not see me because a big plant blocked their view. I was about to stand up and say hi, then I heard my name. Jenna said, laughing. He really thought I would say yes. Tara chuckled, uneasy. That is harsh. Jenna leaned back and said, Blake is not going anywhere. I have him wrapped around my finger. I just need to keep him on the hook until everything is ready. Everything is ready. Tara asked. Ready for what? Jenna's voice got excited. Charles, he is worth the wait. Blake is a safety net. When Charles sorts his situation, Blake is done. Safety net. My stomach turned. Jenna laughed again. He will probably cry into his video games. Then she added, if he proposes again before I am ready, I will say yes, play along, then dump him later. Not my problem. I sat there, frozen, feeling like I was listening to a stranger. Tara whispered, do you even feel bad? Jenna said, no. That is what he gets for being clueless. Then Tara's chair scraped. They stood to leave. Tara glanced around and saw me. Her face changed. She whispered, barely audible, you deserve better. Then she followed Jenna out. I did not move for a full minute, because once you hear someone describe you like a tool, you cannot unhear it. I texted Luke one sentence. I overheard everything. It is worse. Luke replied, come now. Luke's sentence, not acting like coworkers, made my chest tighten. I asked, where did you see them? Luke said, Westfield area. She told you she was at work, right? I nodded. Luke exhaled. She looked happy. Too happy. And he looked like he owned the room. I did not need details. I already had the most important one, her own words. I went home that night and acted normal, which was the hardest part. Jenna kissed me like usual and asked, are you okay? I smiled and said, just tired. Because I needed proof. If I confronted her with only the coffee shop conversation, she could deny it. Tara would back out. Jenna would call me paranoid. The friend group would split. So I did what Jenna did. I planned. I checked our phone bill. Under our shared plan, the carrier shows numbers and timestamps, not messages. There was one number Jenna called constantly, late nights, lunch hours, short calls, long calls. Not saved as a contact on the bill, just a number. I wrote it down. Then I checked our joint account. Jenna had been withdrawing money in small chunks. Not huge, but consistent. If you were me, you might think that is normal. But I knew Jenna's habits. She does not withdraw cash unless she is hiding spending. I took screenshots of the transactions and saved them. Receipts. 2 nights later, Jenna fell asleep on the couch with her phone unlocked on her chest. I did not feel proud of what I did next. I felt desperate for clarity. I opened her messages. Thread. Charles. I did not scroll for entertainment. I scrolled for proof. There were no explicit details. There did not need to be. There were inside jokes. I miss you. I wish you were here. I hate pretending. Soon. Then I saw the line that matched what I overheard. Jenna, keep Blake on the hook until your situation is finalized. Charles. What if he proposes again? Jenna. I will say yes, play along, then end it later. I felt sick. I took screenshots. Then I screen recorded the thread, showing the contact name and the timestamps. Then I put the phone back exactly where it was. In the morning, I called Luke and showed him everything. Luke stared at the screen and said, "This is cold." I nodded. Yes. Luke said, "What do you want to do?" I thought about it. I did not want revenge. I wanted dignity. But I also wanted her story to end cleanly, without her rewriting me as the villain. So I did 2 practical things. First, I separated my money. I opened a new account and moved my paycheck there, not to punish her, to protect myself. Second, I started planning my exit. New apartment, lease options. What items were mine? What items were hers? Then I did something else. I looked up Charles. Not stalking, just basic public info. Jenna's company website listed leadership. Charles was a senior director, married, 2 children, public family photos on social media. His situation was not a divorce in progress. It looked like a normal marriage from the outside. Then I got another confirmation. Luke's cousin worked at Jenna's company. I asked carefully, "Is Charles married?" Cousin replied, "Yes, and his wife thinks everything is fine." So Charles was playing Jenna too. That did not make me feel better. but it did make the story clearer. Everyone was using everyone. Jenna kept acting sweet. She asked about ring shopping again. She showed me a luxury ring on her phone. Huge stone. She said, "This is the one." I nodded and said, "Okay, we can look." Inside, I was planning something else. I told Jenna I wanted to redo the proposal properly, with family and friends present, because I wanted it to be memorable. She loved that. She started calling her mom. She started planning her outfit. She started acting like the engagement was guaranteed. I let her. Because Jenna had told Tara she would say yes and dump me later. So I decided to let her say yes in a room that would not allow her to rewrite the story afterward. Not for humiliation, for closure. I booked a private room at a restaurant, a nice one. I invited her parents, our close friends, Luke, Tara, and a few mutuals. I told them it was a surprise. I did not say what kind. Then I made one change to the guest list. I added one person Jenna did not expect. Charles's wife. How did I reach her? I did not message her from emotion. I messaged her with facts. "Hi, I am not trying to create chaos. I have evidence your husband has been in a secret relationship with my girlfriend. If you want proof, I can show it." She replied within an hour. "I need to see everything." I sent screenshots. I sent the timeline. I removed personal details, not relevant. She called me, voice shaking, and said, "Thank you. I did not know. I am sorry." Then she said, calm and cold, "I will handle my marriage, you handle yours, but I would like to be present if your girlfriend tries to deny it." So she agreed to attend. 2 days before the event, Jenna left for a work conference. I knew from the messages it was actually a trip with Charles. I did not confront her at the airport. I kissed her forehead and said, "Have a good trip." She smiled and said, "I love you." I felt hollow. The minute she boarded, I moved my essentials to my new apartment. Not all my stuff. Just important documents, electronics, and my dog, Pepper. Pepper is a small rescue dog we adopted together. Jenna loved posting him, but I was the one who walked him, fed him, and took him to the vet. Pepper came with me. Then I waited. Jenna returned from conference glowing, tan, happy, lying without blinking. She hugged me and said, "I missed you." I smiled and said, "Big night tomorrow." Her eyes lit up. She had no idea. The event night arrived like a storm I had scheduled. Jenna got ready with Tara, thinking Tara was there to hype her up. Tara looked uncomfortable, but she came. I arrived early to the private room. It was set up with chairs facing a screen, not a romantic dinner table. Luke helped with the tech because he wanted this to be clean. No yelling, no confusion. People arrived expecting a proposal. Her parents were smiling, dressed nicely. My friends were curious. Jenna arrived and froze. She looked at the chairs, the screen, the lack of flowers, and her face shifted. "What is this?" she asked. I smiled calmly. "A proposal you will not forget." She laughed nervously. "Where is the table?" I said, "Sit." She sat, still smiling like she could charm her way through any room. Then Charles's wife walked in. Jenna's smile vanished. She whispered, "Who is that?" I did not answer. I nodded to Luke. Luke started the screen. The first slide was simple. Title, the timeline. Then the first screenshot appeared. Jenna's text, "Blake is a safety net." Gasps, silence. Her mother's hand went to her mouth. Jenna stood up. "This is fake." Then the next slide. Jenna, "I will say yes, play along, then dump him." Her father looked like he could not breathe. Then a slide of the work conference hotel booking, dates matching. Then a slide of bank withdrawals. Then the screen recording clip, time-stamped. Jenna lunged toward the laptop. Luke stepped in calmly and blocked her path. Jenna screamed, "You invaded my privacy." I kept my voice steady. "You planned my humiliation." Then Charles's wife spoke, calm and sharp. "I am Sarah," she said. "I am Charles's wife. Not his ex-wife. His wife." Jenna turned white. "No," Jenna whispered. "He is getting divorced." Sarah replied, "He is not. He has not filed. I confirmed today." Jenna's knees looked weak. Her mother started crying. Her father stared at Jenna and said, "Is this true?" Jenna tried the old move. She turned to the room and said, "Blake is controlling. He is unstable. He always overreacts." I did not defend my character. I pointed at the screen. These are your words, I said. Time-stamped. Yours. Tara stood up suddenly and said, It is true. I heard her say it. That sentence was a gavel. Because now Jenna could not claim it was edited. A witness heard it in the coffee shop. Jenna's face twisted into anger. You set me up, she shouted. I nodded. Yes, because you were setting me up. Sarah looked at Jenna and said, You are not my problem. He is. Then Sarah walked out of the room. Jenna's phone buzzed. She looked down. Message from Charles. We need to talk, she knows. Jenna's face crumpled. Her mom begged, Jenna, stop lying. Jenna screamed, You do not understand. Her father stood up and said, We are leaving now. He looked at me and said, Blake, I am sorry. I nodded. Thank you. People stood up slowly, confused, sad, angry, exhausted. I did not gloat. I said, Calm. Everyone, you can stay and eat. I paid for the room. I just wanted the truth to be seen. Then I walked out. Outside, Jenna followed me into the hallway, mascara running. Blake, please, she said. We can fix this. I looked at her and said, Calm. You did not want to fix us. You wanted to use me. She grabbed my sleeve. Where is Pepper? I removed her hand gently. Safe. She whispered, Do you hate me? I paused. I do not hate you. I do not trust you. That is worse for you, I think. Then I left. I went to my new apartment, sat on my couch, and watched Pepper sleep like nothing changed. But everything had changed. Because the story was no longer in Jenna's control. 2 days later, Sarah texted me. Divorce papers served. Thank you. And Luke texted me. Jenna is telling people you were abusive. There it was. The final narrative attempt. So, I did what my attorney friend Maya told me to do earlier. I sent one message to mutual friends. I am not debating. There are screenshots and witnesses. Please do not spread false claims. Then I stopped. Weeks passed. Jenna lost her job after the company found out about the leadership scandal, not because of me, but because HR does not enjoy public mess. Charles got removed from his role, not fired instantly, but sidelined. Jenna started calling from different numbers. I blocked them. Then she showed up at my building. My intercom started ringing like an alarm. I checked the camera. Jenna, crying, hair messy, eyes wild. She was yelling, Blake, let me in. I did not open the door. I pressed the talk button and said, Calm. You need to leave. She screamed, Please, I made a mistake. I asked, Which mistake? Europe, the texts, the plan. She sobbed, all of it. I stayed calm. You need to leave. She shouted, You ruined my life. I replied, No, you did. Then I turned off the intercom. She stayed outside for 40 minutes, crying and begging until a neighbor called building security. Security escorted her away. I saved the incident report email the building sent me. Receipts. Because at this point, I needed documentation for a protective order. Not revenge. Protection. Jenna's mother's email was long. She wrote about Jenna making a mistake. She wrote about young people. She wrote about not throwing away 3 years. Then she wrote one line that felt like a hook. Jenna has nowhere to go. If you were me, would you feel guilty? I did. For a second. Then I remembered the coffee shop. He will probably cry into his cat. That was what she said about my pain. So, I replied to her mother calmly. I am sorry she is struggling. I cannot help. Please do not contact me again. Then, I forwarded the email to my attorney friend Maya. Maya replied, Good. Do not negotiate through guilt. Jenna tried a new tactic. She posted a long social media story claiming she was financially controlled, that I was jealous, that I humiliated her. A few people believed it for a day. Then Tara commented simply, Stop lying. I was there. And Luke commented, There were receipts. Jenna deleted the post. That was the power of calm witnesses. Not shouting, just truth. Then Jenna showed up at my workplace. Not inside, but outside, waiting near my car. My manager saw her and asked if I needed security. I did. Security escorted her out. I saved the security report. Then I filed for a protective order. I did not describe graphic things. I described repeated unwanted contact, workplace appearance, residence intercom incident, building security escort, multiple numbers and messages, The court granted a temporary order. Jenna violated it once by emailing me. I saved it and reported it. Then she stopped. Not because she understood, because consequences were now real. Meanwhile, Charles and Sarah's divorce proceeded. Sarah texted me once more. Just so you know, Charles told Jenna he was nearly divorced for months. He was lying. She was not special. That line gave me a strange relief. Not because I wanted Jenna hurt, but because it proved she was not some mastermind. She was someone willing to hurt me for an illusion. I focused on rebuilding. New apartment, new routine, new boundaries. I stopped checking Jenna's social media. I stopped asking mutuals for updates. Because moving on is not a speech. It is a habit. Then something unexpected happened. Sarah and I started talking occasionally. Not romantic, just two people processing similar betrayal. Coffee once every couple weeks. Short texts. How are you holding up? Over time, those coffees became something warmer. Not fast, not impulsive, but honest. If you are listening and thinking, is that too neat? I get it. Real life is messy. We did not jump into anything quickly. We both did therapy. We both agreed that we would not use each other as a bandage. Eventually, we started dating. Quietly. No posts, no announcements, just dinners and walks and a calm sense of being seen. Luke said, that is poetic. I said, it is just life. Then, about 6 months after the restaurant night, I ran into Tara at a grocery store. Tara looked exhausted. She said, Jenna is not okay. I nodded. I know. Tara said, she is blaming you. She is blaming Charles. She is blaming everyone. I replied calmly, that is her pattern. Tara hesitated, then said, I am sorry I did not warn you earlier. I looked at her. You did, that day. You said I deserved better. I heard you. Tara nodded and walked away. That moment mattered, because it reminded me that I did not survive this alone. I had witnesses. I had proof. I had people who refused to let Jenna rewrite everything. Then Jenna tried one more time. She mailed me a letter. Handwritten. It said, I do love you. I just wanted more. More. More money. More status. More control. She ended the letter with, please forgive me. I did not respond. Not because forgiveness is impossible, but because forgiveness does not require access. And Jenna still wanted access. That is why she screamed at the intercom. Not love. Access. The small claims filing was exactly what Maya predicted. When a manipulator cannot get emotional access, they try procedural access. Jenna claimed I stole shared property. The list was ridiculous. A blender. A rug. And Pepper, our dog. Pepper. She had never walked him consistently. She had never paid for his vet visits. She posted him for likes. But now she wanted him as leverage, because she knew he mattered to me. I did not panic. I gathered receipts. Adoption paperwork in my name. Vet bills paid from my account. Microchip registration. Messages where she said, I do not have time for Pepper. Photos showing I was the one doing pickups. At the hearing, Jenna showed up acting fragile. She cried. She said I abandoned her. She said I humiliated her. She implied I was controlling. The judge did not react to tears. The judge asked for proof. I handed over documents. Jenna had none beyond feelings. The judge ruled quickly. Pepper stays with me. Jenna's claim dismissed. She could retrieve her personal items by appointment. That was it. No dramatic speech. No revenge. Boring proof. After court, Jenna looked at me and said, You ruined me. I replied calmly, You wrote the plan. You executed it. I just stopped participating. She started to cry again. Then she said, Charles cheated on me too. I stared at her, because part of me wanted to feel satisfaction. Instead, I felt a quiet sadness. I said, That is not my problem. Then I walked away. The protective order remained. The no contact line held. And my life became quieter than it had been in years. Pepper adjusted to the new apartment. He stopped pacing at night. He started sleeping deeply. I did too. Sarah and I kept dating slowly. We did not rush. We did not flex. We built something calm. And that calm felt like the opposite of Jenna's world. Because Jenna's world was built on performance and upgrades. My world now was built on honesty and boundaries. If you are listening and you are in a situation where someone is stringing you along, I want you to hear one thing. The most dangerous part is not the betrayal. It is the moment they convince you that your reality is negotiable. Jenna tried to do that. She rejected my proposal, then tried to keep me on the hook, then planned to accept later, then dump me when she was ready. She treated my life like a waiting room. I refused. I canceled the wedding. I collected receipts. I protected my finances. I protected my reputation. And I did not let her rewrite me as the villain who could not handle it. Because I handled it. I handled it by being calm and strategic. The final scene, the intercom begging, is something I will never forget. Not because she cried. Because she only cried when she lost access, not when she hurt me. That is how you know what someone values. So yes, she laughed about dumping me after I proposed. Days later, she was screaming at my intercom, begging for forgiveness. But the truth is, she was not begging for love. She was begging for the safety net back. And I stopped being one. That is the payoff. Not revenge. Freedom. And that is the ending. Not loud, not dramatic, just documented and final. If you like calm documentary-style stories with receipts and a real payoff, subscribe. I post long-form stories like this regularly, and the next story starts with, "It is fine," and ends with a screenshot that proves it was not.